It is now 10 a.m., Tuesday, November 1st. We'll call the meeting to order, and if you would, please rise for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, this time we will accept public comment for any items that are not appearing on today's agenda. Is there any public comment at this time? Okay, seeing none, we will accept public comment as each item is under consideration. Any additions to our agenda needed at this time? Okay, seeing none. We'll look for a motion to approve our meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes from the meetings held on October 19th and 25th.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on the minutes? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. The motion is carried. All right, we're going to start with Proclamation 38 of this year, and we have some guests joining us to recognize this, and we have Sharima Young from Penn State University from the Government Affairs Office. We also have retired Lieutenant Colonel Chris Sabora, and we also have Brian Query that I think is going to be joining us for our resolution as well, but please, we welcome you up at this time. Yeah, absolutely. Whatever you're comfortable with, please, yeah.
Thank you for having us this morning.
Of course. So we will turn it over to you to really talk about the recognition that the university and our community is doing for this upcoming Military Appreciation Month.
Yes, so we're happy to be with you again, once again representing the Military Appreciation Committee at Penn State University. And we're thankful that the commissioners are honoring Military Appreciation Month as we are starting the kickoff on November 4th. So at the end of this week, and we go into November 11th, and actually the 12th, which will be the end of the football game. So the football game against Maryland will be our Military Appreciation football game. And this year's theme is really special to us, just like many other themes that we've had. But this year's theme, we're actually honoring some of our very own. So some of our faculty, staff, and students who are veterans and are service members. And so we're doing a little bit different things downtown. So Chris is going to talk to you a little bit about that. But one of the things you'll see visually are some banners. So I know that you've had them in Bellefonte for quite a while, but now we will have some downtown where you'll see service members being honored on some of the street poles. So we're very excited about that, and I think you can definitely look to see that. I think it's maybe unveiling this Friday. And so super excited about that. We have some concerts going on and some other things on campus. So I'm going to welcome Chris to come up and talk a little bit more about that.
Thank you, Sharima. Thank you for the proclamation, and thank you for having us. We're very excited to continue our partnership and our community involvement. As Sharima said, we've got a number of events coming up, especially starting this Friday with the banner unveil downtown. And then following that, we've got a really neat, fun thing that we're trying out for the first time. It's a joint endeavor with the State Theater. We're putting on a concert that includes 2022 Grammy Award winner Cedric Burnside. He's a blues guitarist and artist, along with Joe Black and the Honey Bears. So we're really excited about that and getting that off the ground. So please tell your friends, come out. It'll be a great time. And then during the week, we've got a number of events. The All Sports Museum is putting on a World War II display on Thursday. We've got the Veterans Day ceremony on Friday at 11 o'clock at Old Main. And then there'll be a student panel following that where some of our student veterans are going to get together at the hub and talk about their experiences and answer questions and things like that. And then we've got some other things going on during the week on campus as well. But we're really excited, and then it'll culminate, at least for our activities, with the tailgate preceding the football game, and then obviously the football game right after that. But again, we're excited for this year's events and looking forward to a great time with the community and getting everybody involved.
Thank you so much. And Brian, we'd offer the opportunity to discuss anything that Veterans Affairs is working on, any events that are going to be happening here in our community that we'd like to share with folks.
Well, the main thing we have coming up, the banner up here at Hometown Heroes for the banners up here in Bellefonte, after a couple years hiatus due to COVID and everything, they're now putting those back up. Their unveiling will be November 11th, just following the Veterans Day celebrations there at by the courthouse. So that'll be coming up this November 11th, I guess a week from this Friday. We'll be doing that unveiling.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. The university continues to be one of the outstanding places of higher education that supports veterans, their families, and really encourages them to be a part of our community. Our Veterans Affairs Office continues to lead the pack in the state with the amount of connections that they make with veterans in our community to make sure that they're getting the benefits that they so rightly deserve. And our community at large supports us all and make sure that veterans are welcome here and their loved ones as well. And so one of the things that we wanted to segue into is also this resolution that would support the National Association of Counties Operation Greenlight for Veterans. And this is a first time that this is happening throughout the country, and what it really is promoting the welcoming arms that the university, the county, many other organizations here in Centre County have for veterans to connect with the help that's available, the assistance to connect with other veterans. And so it's just as small as putting a green light at a business, signage that just lets veterans know that they're welcome here and supported, and they can seek help if needed. And so NACO's got a great website. We're going to do a resolution today supporting that with more information about how folks can get involved in that. So again, we'll be rolling that out as we're coming into November and Veterans Day. But any other comments that we'd like to make? Yeah.
Maybe for the folks at home, you said it very well, Mike, but NACO is the National Association of Counties. Happen to have a mug here with the logo. This is Operation Greenlight is a new initiative that, as Mike said, they're rolling out nationwide for county governments, which are in all but one state, I believe, to show appreciation for our military veterans for everything they've done for us over the prior decades. And I do want to highlight again the work in the Veterans Affairs Department here at the county that Brian and his staff perform. They find hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of dollars in toto over a year for benefits for our local veterans. And I believe, I don't know if you have the number, Brian, it's many thousands of veterans here in Centre County.
We have, it's roughly about 8,000 veterans that we do have in Centre County. I'm not sure, we have roughly, I think somewhere around 700 or 800 veterans actually attending Penn State University. And then they also have throughout the different things. So one thing I did want to highlight, if I had the opportunity to go up, when you start looking at the population densities and things like that, when you get to the World War II vets, now let's talk about World War II vets. They're all in their 90s plus, okay? When you look at the population curve, it says, well, they think there's 300, but it says like about plus 250, plus or minus 250. My estimate, we're probably close to 100 or less of those World War II veterans on that one. And so if you happen to see or know a World War veteran, truly recognize, because they truly were the greatest generation. We're all great generations, but I think we'd all recognize that World War II was a very difficult time for everyone that was involved with that. So thank you for the opportunity to discuss this.
Well, first, I want to say thank you, Sharima and Chris. I think everything that Penn State's doing right now really not only honors our veterans, but reminds us exactly what makes us free. And it's people willing to stand in harm's way against our enemies, and periodically we need to remember how important that is, and this is one of those times. And to go to Brian's comment about the World War II vets, the fact that you have a World War II exhibit at the Penn State Sports Museum, I think is very telling, because that generation was truly the greatest one. They stood against tyranny, literally on a worldwide basis, and we mobilized our entire country. And I think as we remember that we have younger generations that's far removed from, they need to be reminded exactly how important that generation was to the freedom and really the vitality of our country today. I just want to say again, thank you. And, oh, by the way, Cedric Burnside is amazing, and he's, if you're going to go to one blues concert in State College this year, this is probably the one. He played with, let's just say Luther Dickerson and the North Mississippi All-Stars and a bunch of other people, and really was a tremendous, that's a tremendous find, and I can honestly say that I'm looking forward to that one, so thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. To my colleagues. We do have some guests that have just joined us prior to the proclamation beginning, but gentlemen, anything you'd like to add? I had an outreach from somebody who said that they might wanted to come, but please, if you wanted to offer any comments at this time. Yeah, please, we welcome you up at the podium. Yeah. Not meaning to put you on the spot, but yeah.
Oh, of course we wouldn't do that.
Absolutely.
Just wanted to say thanks for letting us come out here. We do really appreciate the support in the community. It is really sometimes a thankless service, so any little bit helps. Granted, most of us don't do it for that. We do it to serve our country. We have other needs we're trying to meet, but it is awesome to see this happening, and the recognition is awesome, so we really do appreciate it.
I don't want to steal your thunder. You're from the office here in town.
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
State College Recruiting Office. My name is Staff Sergeant Matthew Richards. I should have led with
No,
that.
that's
Sorry.
okay. No worries. No worries.
But yes, I'm the Air Force recruiter for the local area. I cover all of Center County, so it's a big area to try and get young minds interested in serving our country. So
Thank you for taking the time to be here and the work you do. We
Not a
appreciate it so
problem.
much, you and your colleagues. Thank you so much.
my
you.
boss over there.
Thank
so.
you. Appreciate it. Before we look for a vote, any questions at this time? No, okay. We'll look then for a motion for the proclamation and also our resolution.
Motion to enact proclamation number 38 of 2022, proclaiming November as Military Appreciation Month in Center County.
I will second that.
All right. It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on these? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. The motion is carried. Okay. We'd like to welcome you up for a presentation of the proclamation, and we'll look forward to seeing you at all the events upcoming in the next weeks to come. Okay? So that is a resolution. Yeah. Okay, so we'll present that to you.
Come on up.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
He's the shy one. You gotta come sit
Yeah.
down.
Excellent, yeah. Okay, thanks, guys. Thank you all once again. Appreciate it so much. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks so much, Chris. Good to see you.
Thanks, Rima. Chris, what a pleasure.
Look forward to seeing you on Friday.
Indeed.
Did you need this one? Did you need that one you're gonna do?
No. I was,
Okay.
for some reason, we had them down as adopting both the proclamation and the resolution, and I just thought I wanted to do them separately.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Could I interrupt one
Oh, sure.
second?
No, please.
I forgot to mention, as I was reminded by my colleagues here, that we are going to be lighting up the courthouse with the green lighting on that one, so that should start tonight. We have set up, so they have that set up, and for the next week or so, that'll be done as well.
Okay, thank you, Brian.
One last thing,
No,
kind of,
yeah.
oh, by the way, I don't want to take anything away, but any veterans, when I did point out, the World War II veterans, but all veterans do, do lots of sacrifices. I don't think many times those that haven't done it may not understand everything. You know what I'm saying, because it's one of the few jobs left there. It truly is a 24/7, takes people away for long periods of time. And they do sacrifice many times their health and their well-being for our country. And so we should recognize every veteran, obviously in the Veterans Day, but throughout the year as well.
Brian, thank you. Thank you for that reminder.
November
Appreciate
11th at 11 o'clock.
it. Okay.
Push in the resolution.
Yeah, please.
Motion to approve resolution number 23 of 2022, a resolution declaring Center County's support of Operation Greenlight for veterans.
I will second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on the resolution? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay. All right. But we do really encourage everybody to take some time to be a part of these events, and also as we approach Veterans Day, to again, as Brian said, recognize the sacrifice that those men and women have given our country, continue to give our country.
Thank you for your service.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. All right, we have another proclamation today. It's Proclamation 39 of 2022, and we're really pleased to have Tim Cohane with us, and we have some great planning that's occurring as we go into Global Entrepreneurship Week here in Center County at Penn State. But Tim, we'll welcome you up at this time for an overview of all the great things that are happening. So appreciate you taking the time today.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, and thanks to the commissioners for inviting us in to talk about Global Entrepreneurship Week today. My name, as Commissioner Pipe said, is Tim Cohane. I'm the director at the Penn State Small Business Development Center. The Small Business Development Center is the coordinating organization for Global Entrepreneurship Week at Penn State each year. This year, we're in our 14th year of hosting Global Entrepreneurship Week at Penn State. Probably, I'd say for the first 9 or 10 of those years, it was very much a student-focused event on campus at Penn State. But intentionally, over the last 2 to 3 years, we have been shifting the focus of it to be more community-facing and accommodating to the small businesses and entrepreneurs throughout the community. That's not to say we don't have any programs or events that are still happening for the students. There definitely are some that happen each year. So we basically break our events into 2 categories. Commissioner Higgins has actually served on our planning committee, is familiar with this. But so we have what we call our core events, which our Global Entrepreneurship Week committee at the university coordinates with the help of the planning committee. So we do all of the sort of scouting out of interesting events and programs that we can hold during the week. And by the way, I should back up a second and say that this week's events the core events are going to be on November 14th through the 18th. So our core events will all take place during that week. We try to hit on the 4 themes of Global Entrepreneurship Week. So Global Entrepreneurship Week is an event of the Global Entrepreneurship Network, which is has been created by the Kauffman Foundation out in the Midwest. And this is one of the many entrepreneurship educational programs and events that they hold throughout the year. So the 4 themes for this year are policy, inclusion, ecosystem, and education. What we try to do as a core committee and planning committee is try to develop programs that will touch on at least one of those categories or themes each year. So we end up having anywhere from 5 to 10 core events that we hold, but then we open up other events to community and university partners to host as well throughout the week. As a matter of fact, we actually, for any community or university partner, we basically say, hey, Global Entrepreneurship Week is 1 week in our core event planning, but if you have any events that you want to do throughout the month of November, we sort of consider all of November Global Entrepreneurship Week. So we will have a number of events that occur outside of that main week, but just to give you an idea of the scale, so as I said, we have typically anywhere from 5 to 10 core events. We'll get up into approximately 40 to 50 events that'll be held throughout all of Global Entrepreneurship Week this year. And so the remainder of those all come from community and university partners. I'll just give you a little bit of a sample of some of the both core and partner events that we have going on this year. For our core events, we have as our featured event a keynote speaker with the editor-in-chief of Entrepreneur Magazine, Jason Pfeiffer. So he's going to come in, and he's also either just or about to introduce a book that he's written. And so a lot of his discussion is some of the same topics that you'll find in his book, and it's all about adapting to change with some of the things that entrepreneurs have been going through over the past 2 to 3 years. So he'll be our featured presentation. That'll be earlier in the week on Tuesday, the 15th. We also have on Wednesday, the 16th, what we're calling SBA Day. So we have Small Business Administration is our federal funding partner at the SBDC. And so we have SBA coming in and presenting multiple topics and programs throughout the day on Wednesday. One is a sort of an invitation-only lenders roundtable, which we open up to commercial lenders, economic development organizations that have funding programs, and other economic development professionals. They're also going to be offering a program later in the day for women-owned small business certification. So that's one that we're hoping to get a good turnout for, and you know, a lot of great information in terms of female-owned businesses that are particularly interested in doing federal contracting. And then we sort of cap off the week toward the end of the week with our big networking event, which we've been having at least for the last 2 or 3 years. This year's networking event will feature, we're actually on the schedule for the CBICC after hours event. So that for the month of November, that's going to be during Global Entrepreneurship Week and part of our lineup. Pretty much all of our core events are being hosted at the Eric J. Barron Innovation Hub, which is on South Borough Street, the newer building that a lot of the economic development and entrepreneurship programs, such as Invent Penn State and others, the Happy Valley Launchbox is now at that building. So that's where a lot of our core events are happening, and partner events. Some of our partner events include the Happy Valley Launchbox has 2 or 3 events that they'll be hosting there at the building. We also have the Pennsylvania Wilds. We'll be doing an in-person event over in Clinton County. And then we are, the SBDC is doing our monthly First Step for Starting a Business program over in Lycoming County at Penn College. So the SBDC covers 4 counties for our network: Center, Clinton, Lycoming, and Mifflin, and so we're trying to at least make sure we spread the community events out to each one of those outside locations. But this year's event is still going to have a considerable amount of virtual events. That's primarily what the events were the past 2 years, but we are definitely seeing a shift that we'll have more in-person events this year that will essentially be in a hybrid format so that folks can join via a streaming option if they so choose. So we are still accepting community and university partner event submissions through the end of this week. Right now our schedule is looking like we have approximately 30 events on the schedule. I'm sure we're going to get some more in the remainder of this week. As I said, we'll probably get that total count up close to 40 or more. So the way that a community partner, or anyone that's interested in doing some type of an entrepreneurship-related event that week can connect with us and submit that is through our GEW website, which that web address is gew.psu.edu. And you know, we're extremely excited about this year's programming. We have a lot of the Commonwealth campuses and other launch boxes throughout the state that are participating. So I think it's going to be great. There is one other event that I wanted to talk about that I had communicated to Commissioner Higgins about. We also have at the beginning of the week on Monday, the Federal Reserve Bank going to hit on our policy type theme for this year. And a couple of the things that they're going to be presenting on, they have an initiative called the Economic Growth and Mobility Project. So they're going to be introducing some research and best practices that they've come out with related to that. A lot of it is related to helping get diverse workers connected with companies that need employees and are having issues with workforce. They'll also provide a economic update that'll have a regional flavor to it, you know, for our area here in Central PA. And then finally, they're going to be also providing some information as part of that economic growth and mobility project, a presentation on the digital, what I'm more familiar with as being called the digital divide, but digital equity across the state of Pennsylvania. So that should all be very interesting information that we'll have coming from the Federal Reserve Bank out of Philadelphia. So as I said, we're very excited. We encourage anybody throughout the region to participate in this. There's many opportunities to do so in person and virtually. Still accepting any partner events that partners out there might be interested in having listed on our GW calendar, and all of that information can be found on that website.
Tim, thank you. Every year, this continues to grow, gets more expansive, includes more folks, and so we appreciate you sharing and highlighting some of those today, and looking forward to attending many of the events as well.
Great, thank you.
I think the takeaway for people at home is that large businesses do not create jobs as a group. Large businesses haven't created net new jobs since Steve was a toddler, since Steve and I were small children.
Wow.
And here in Center County, it's true, Steve. So literally every single new job created in the United States for the last couple decades has been from small businesses and startups. Would like to thank Tim for the Small Business Development Center's partnership with Bellefonte Springboard. Also another group in the county, the SCORE Consultants, do a lot of work with small businesses as well. And if anybody would want examples of what small businesses and startups can do for communities, just look down the hill here in Bellefonte. Totally revitalized community, and it's all small businesses, primarily female. Of course, Milheim, their burst was a few years back, but the Milheim Renaissance, again, also small businesses. And then in Phillipsburg, we're starting to see that in Phillipsburg too, with the opening of the brew pub and the new archery place, multiple coffee shops, all sorts of great things happening in Center County because of startups and small businesses. And also give a quick shout out for the Center Region Entrepreneurs Network for companies that are starting to scale as well. They create a lot of jobs as a group. So thanks for coming, Tim.
My pleasure.
So again, 5,000 Penn State students, faculty, community members, and volunteers at Penn State will be coming together, also statewide as well. So again, a huge accomplishment. Tim, thanks for being here. We will look for a motion to adopt our proclamation.
An enthusiastic motion to adopt proclamation number 39 of 2022, proclaiming November 14th through 18th as Global Entrepreneurship Week at Penn State, but for the whole county as well.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion is carried. Tim, we'd like you to welcome me up and present this to you. All right, thanks again. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. Okay. Look forward to seeing you there, okay? Well,
Yeah,
Be
absolutely.
sure to stop out. Thanks, Aaron. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to being there this year. Last year I was in quarantine.
Oh, is that right? Oh, geez, okay. And we'll be sure that Aaron will send you a copy of the picture.
Yes.
So you
Oh,
can
great.
share. And we'll share it on social media.
Yeah,
Thanks,
for
Mark.
sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. The next set of item here is bids and proposals. We have our ERP software and implementation services. So John and Jason will turn it over to you at this point for our very first online bid opening here at the county. So there we go.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah. I was going to bring my letter opener, but I didn't need it for this one today, so we're good to go. So this is Penn Bid, as you're aware. This is how we accepted the bids this time around. It's a pretty straightforward process for opening now. No more need for those razor blades or anything for John, so all I need to do is go into the response here, and we're going to open our sealed bids.
So the two items that we're looking for are the, at a minimum, the technical submittal as well as the cost submittal documents. Again, this is our first time opening them, so we don't know exactly how these documents are going to be labeled, so bear with us as we identify.
Well, before we get into all this, maybe we need to know what it is that we're looking at.
Sure.
ERP doesn't mean anything to
That is a fair point.
99.9% of the people out there. So let's kind of talk about what we're doing.
Sure. So this is enterprise resource planning software, which is basically the heart and soul of the finance human resources, and time and attendance for the county government. So our general ledger will run through this, our employee records, and then also maintain our time and attendance as well. So it touches upon every department, it touches upon every service we have, and it also will hopefully remove the need from some additional third-party softwares down the road as well, that we can collect everything in one place. It's also our reporting hub as well, which will make reporting and access to data a little bit easier, not only for internal employees, but also then for ideally the public as well, that will have more accessible reporting out of this as well.
Yeah, these are pretty big numbers, and so I didn't want to shock anybody to think that this was a run-of-the-mill project we're working on.
And we should say that we, many departments are going to connect to this. I mean, is it fair to say that every single department will be interacting with our ERP software? I mean, some more than others, but in terms of being able to access it and have logins, whatnot?
Yeah, absolutely. So long as a department has an employee, they will be using our ERP software. From there, though, it expands. So, certainly to Commissioner Pipe's point, there will be some employees that are in this daily, and there will be some employees that are in it every 2 weeks approving payroll. So just really depends on what functionality they need out of it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, please.
No.
That's helpful context. Very helpful.
So you
Just didn't want them to start popping those numbers up there without some explanation to what we were looking at.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to actually open the individual documents, but I can see here that we've received technical proposals from all three, as well as pricing proposals. So it looks like they've satisfied the initial requirements for submission.
And the only reason we're not opening the pricing documents today is because during the review process, we will not be factoring that in the initial scoring of it. But it will be in the couple multi-hundred thousands of dollars for the softwares.
So typically, we'll read, as you open the documents, the entity will be named and their address, but could we just, for the record, at least state who the bidders were, the folks who responded?
Sure. So the first one listed here is Univeris. They are actually out of British Columbia, Canada, and they satisfied both elements of the proposal. Tyler Technologies is out of Maine, and they do a lot of software for governments. And UKG, formerly known as Kronos, but the Universal Kronos Group, and they are out of Massachusetts.
So what we're looking at here is we're basically looking at a technical proposal. There's 3 PDFs, and then looks like an Excel spreadsheet and 2 PDFs for the pricing.
Correct, yeah. And so now during the review process, we'll comb through those documents to make sure they've actually satisfied all the specific requirements within each of those documents as well.
It's our understanding that typically you'd be looking for the bid bond, the this, the that, the.
So many paper copies, so many digital copies.
They can't submit this without doing everything that we've already asked of them, correct?
Correct. The system would actually stop them from actually at least uploading the required pieces of information.
And because it is a software upload or an electronic upload, the 4 o'clock deadline is a very hard deadline. I was actually in the system at 3:59 on Friday, and when 4 o'clock hit, the screen refreshed and locked out any bidders. So if anybody was even in the middle of it, it wouldn't have prevented them from submitting at that point. So, which gives a very objective approach to the process as well. We certainly did it upstairs as well, but now we can go back to a timestamp and say, it wasn't submitted at 4 o'clock. So, yeah.
And so in the future, all of our proposals, bids will be done via this system. So it'll be a change of pace, but it looks like it worked well and was relatively painless.
It was very, yeah.
So, yeah.
I'd be fumbling through the first opening about right now, and it was
All
one
right.
click.
So, yeah, thank you for highlighting the fact that this is a big project, it's important, and the fact that we have 3 is good, we've got some options, and so it looks like the time frame is to table until Tuesday, December 20th, and again, that'll give the review team plenty of time to, review this and get back with recommendations.
Sure. Yeah, because after that, the real work actually begins, because it'll be into next year till this software is implemented.
Any other questions, comments?
Just to oversimplify what we're doing here, many years ago, we went from large paper spreadsheets to electronic spreadsheets and what eventually became Excel. This, over time, will replace Excel for a lot of county budgeting, county tracking, county grant administration, et cetera, processes that are still, to a certain extent, pretty manual.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right, we will then look for a motion to table the RFP.
Motion to table the request for proposal for Enterprise Resource Planning, ERP, software and implementation services until Tuesday, December 20th.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion, questions? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. The motion has carried, okay? Jason, John, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. We have a single contract today for the new business, and Kristen, we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. This is a contract and business associate agreement with Delta Dental, which our Employee Benefit Trust has already given their stamp of approval to be our dental provider for next year. So I'm looking for the board to approve that contract. The contract total estimate is $221,500. That's based on our rates and our current enrollment in those plans. So it's an estimate, but that's what our anticipated cost is for next year. That's rolled into our healthcare cost and is budgeted.
Fantastic. Okay. And it looks like we will be sticking with them for at least 2 years.
Yes, it's a 2-year rate
fan-
guarantee we have with them.
Fantastic. And again, just to highlight, more coverage, better options, more doctors, dentists available here. So really, it was a great process to have gone through. Thank you for leading it from the HR office, Kristen.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
We have higher coverage limits for employees, including some orthodontic coverage as well. And employees have a choice now of their plans and a larger choice of dentists that participate in the Delta network.
I don't think that can be emphasized. We really were, our old plan was very limited, particularly in the oral surgery
Exactly.
end of things. We were very, very limited in the number of opportunities, and this opens that up and provides an amount of coverage which is commensurate with the expense that oftentimes dental processes are now. So procedures are expensive.
Absolutely. Good. Excellent. Okay, so we'll look for a motion to approve this.
Motion to approve the contract and business associate agreement with Delta Dental.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion or questions on this? All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, Kristen. We will look for a motion to approve this week's consent agenda.
Motion to approve this week's consent agenda.
I will second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on the consent agenda? Questions? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay. We'll turn it to Commissioner Higgins for our check run.
Sure, we have an average size check run of $1,638,791.33. The check of the week is to the Center County Public Safety Training Facility that the county operates in cooperation with CPI. It's sort of across the street from the CPI main campus. Great director up there. At this point, the site's kind of being loved to death. We put up a new building that can house as many as 4 fire engines a couple of years ago, and that building's already overscheduled. So would like to, however, thank all of our emergency responders, the fire companies, the ambulance companies, and at this point, the ambulance companies are still in the middle of their membership drives. So please do consider donating. Might not quite be the right word, because if you are a member and you do need an ambulance, it's free. If you're not a member, as we had highlighted a couple of weeks ago, that could run anywhere from $800 to $1,600, and your insurance company is going to pay a small fraction of that. So would like to make the motion to approve the check run dated October 28th.
I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. The motion has carried. Okay. We do have one appointment for our Ag Land Preservation Board, and this would be beginning in September of 2022 till the end of August 2025. And it's Joel Myers in the appointment of the farmer category. Joel will be a great addition to our Ag Land Board. Looking forward to this appointment. Would there be a motion?
Motion to approve the ABC appointment.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion is carried. And we do have one sponsorship as well for our Historical Society, and this is the Center County Historical Society, the 2022 John H. Ziegler Historic Preservation Award Ceremony, and that'll be happening in January of 2023 at 3 o'clock on January 22nd. It'll be happening at the Match Factory, and we would like to be able to record it for posterity so folks can view it. And so we'll just look for a motion to approve.
Certainly, the Match Factory is a beautiful facility.
Absolutely.
Motion to approve the sponsorship of the CNET request from the Center County Historic Society.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. The motion is carried. John, anything to report today?
Nothing to report at this time.
Okay. All right, Commissioner Dershowitz, voter registration.
Okay, we have, as of this morning, 107,476 registered voters in Center County. That is up 502 from my last report. The Democratic registrants are 45,387. The Green Party, 147. Libertarian, 679. And no affiliation is 14,828. And the Republican Party is 42,668. And of that, 3,767 of all the other individuals who are registered, I'd like to highlight the U.S. Nationalist Party. There is one registration, and I'd like to recognize them this morning. But I also want to recognize precinct number 82, which is Union Township. They vote, precinct 82 votes at the Unionville Union Township Community Building. And I would like to indicate that in the last election, that there were total registered voters of 900 even. There were 462 ballots cast, and that leads to a percentage of voter turnout at 51.33. I want to thank the folks in Unionville for allowing us to use their facility, and we'll be seeing you in about a week. So,
Absolutely, absolutely.
there we have it.
Okay. And we have 5 o'clock, the deadline for mail-in and absentee requests. So
Yes.
a short
Today's-
few hours to get that in. It's got to be received by us as well, so
You better hand carry.
absolutely,
You want
absolutely.
to get it in here.
All right, thank you, Commissioner, very much. Okay, so we're going to announce and just remind folks that next week we will not be meeting at 10 a.m. It's canceled due to our duties as the election board on Tuesday, November 8th. However, we will be meeting this Thursday for a Board of Commissioners meeting at 10 a.m. and also Thursday, November 10th. We're still working on the time. It may be a little bit early, but we will announce that ahead of time. So we look forward to that. All right. Any executive sessions to report or hold, John?
The Board of Commissioners met on October 27th from 3:42 p.m. to 4 p.m. to discuss a personnel matter. There's also a need to hold another executive session to discuss additional personnel matters.
All right, thank you, John. All right, and we have the balance of our schedule there, including our upcoming election board meetings with the election. Any questions, Gary, at this time?
How's the county doing with polling place staffers, workers for next week? Are fairly good shape?
I think we're in good shape. Obviously, it's a challenge, and hopefully we have the level of participation that we require. But yeah, everything is good up to this point. I think our staff is sort of busy now trying to get the last-minute details of the election gathered up and making sure that all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted. But I think so far so good. So we should be in good shape for next Tuesday.
Big shout out to all of our election workers for a
Yes.
13, 14, 15, 16-hour day. Appreciate it.
Indeed.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Gary. Is there a motion to go into executive session for personnel matters?
Motion to go into executive session for personnel matters at 10:44.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are in executive session. Thank you all.